Welcome to 158, episode 158 of Cinema Effect. I'm Liam, and who's here? Introduce yourself.
Oh, you want me to
Whoever's
intro
here.
myself? We're not doing.
And Jayden's here. Hello.
Howdy. It really caught me off guard having to intro myself.
Well, I didn't want to I wanted to introduce yourself however you wanted to be,
As Zach Finn today, apparently.
Oh, yeah. Replacement Zach Finn.
Should we actually? I don't know if we've released his full name on the podcast before. I feel like we probably have, to be honest. But
Oh, well. We can do whatever we want now. He's on the other side of the world. And today we are doing a little movie called The Blair Witch Project, released in 1999, where three students decide to go into the Maryland backwoods to uncover the mystery behind the Blair Witch incidents. However, they lose their map and things take an unexpected turn. And this is a famous found footage horror film. And basically the idea that we had with doing this is that Jane has this, well, not to spoil it, but Jane has this film down on the ground with his score, and I didn't. So we had a bit of an opposite reaction here, and we thought we'd explore that, have a little debate episode, if you will. So yeah, Jane, what do you think of the Blair Witch Project?
For the longest time, I thought this movie was arse. I think it's like there's the key point was always that, and I've talked about this with Andy in regards to other films like Alicata, like. No matter how good your film is, no matter how interesting the story, no matter how scary, no matter whatever the other aspect is, if your characters are insufferable to watch, I cannot enjoy the film. And these characters are just terrible. Like they're just like the bickering and the fights that just constantly fucking emerge. It just sucks. It really sucks to watch. But honestly, I felt that less this time. It's still prevalent, but this time around, I actually dug the kind of lore they established at the start a bit more, and while like that kind of whole like middle 60 odd minutes is still shithouse, um, I think there's a decent amount of, I don't know, tension building at the end. It saves it a bit, but not massively. Um, it's still a pretty negative kind of perception in my mind, but a little bit better than what it was last at.
Cool. Well, yeah, we might fail to have our awesome debate episode here, because I'm not by any means like a passionate defender of this film, but I think it's good. I think the lore they set up for the Blair Witch Project is really good, and I think that like it's one of the most authentic found footage films that I've seen. Like I've definitely seen better found footage films we'll talk about later, but this one, not just the fact that it's digital, but I don't know, the look of the camera, the look of the picture quality is just like so unclean. It feels very recovered, and I think the debates, the arguments that the kids get into, they kind of, I don't know. I think they feel very realistic and very not, you know, it feels like real people would go down these rabbit holes of arguing in circles about who's got themselves lost and stuff. Yeah, I think the movie overall, like, it gets scary as it goes along, especially in the last 10 minutes. I think it is actually pretty scary. But it does have some issues. I agree. Well, one thing I was thinking about, like in discussing this though, is that this movie is like the opposite of last week's episode of Indiana Jones. It is like there's like hardly any details in this movie.
Oh
Like
yeah, big time.
it's gonna be. It might be a short episode. We'll see. But
Like I think we get out of the way the acting. I know a lot of people have an issue with it, and I'm pretty sure Andy took issue with it in his review, and I'm pretty sure Heather got won the Razzies that year. I actually don't think the acting was that bad. I think what they did was annoying, but the acting itself pretty decent. And do you know like the story? Like I don't know. Like have you read the trivia and like all that shit behind the making of this movie?
No, I know that there was they tried as hard as they could in the marketing to make it seem like a real event.
Yeah, well, like that kind of extended, like that was very prevalent in the filmmaking as well. Like where the two directors they did just send these three guys out into the woods on the mountain, and they were just like communicating via like walkie talkie. There was like fuck all of the script, just like a outline. Um, and then like Heather, she wrote like the actor, she wrote the opening monologue and like her like later testimony, whatever. Um, so like those parts aren't off the cuff, but the majority of the remainder of the film is improvised. And I think for improvised actions and like directions that were given on the day via walkie talkie, often exclusive, like so like that guy kicking the map into the river, he was the only one that knew that. So like that revelation to the group, that was a very real revelation.
Mm.
So like I think the acting was actually pretty decent, considering what was going on, and I think the kind of method that they were trying to do was fine. Um, but yeah, I just think that the product they ended up with, um, in terms of like the dynamics wasn't the strongest.
Yeah, I mean maybe that's just like the result of too much leeway, too much improvisation, where the actors kind of um, they run out of ideas in terms of what they're arguing about and what they can even talk about, I guess. Um, so thankful, but thankful it is an 90-minute, 80-minute movie,
Mm.
um, which makes a lot of sense.
Well, it didn't make sense to the filmmakers because the original cut was 2.5 hours.
Oh wow,
Yeah, so there was
it's
another
crazy.
fucking 90 minutes of these people stumbling around the woods.
Yeah,
Um, I think like just like I think the biggest issue for me is the kind of just like it's what you said about them running out of ideas. It's just like the circular nature of the argument of the argument gets done, but then a few minutes later they'll start it up again, and it's the same kind of argument. Especially with the map. The map discussion was so fucking annoying. And then when she chooses to randomly bring it up, she's like, "Are you pranking me? Do you guys have the map?" Like I know at that point is when it advances, but like it was just it felt so fucking unnecessary.
I was watching this skit comedy this week, and I can imagine that'd be something like in a skit. Like they come across the Blair Witch Project, the actual Blair Witch, and then they're just still arguing about the map or something. They just bring it up again.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't be pissed if that guy kick the map down the river, man? That's crazy. That's insane.
I'd be pissed as well. To be fair, but like he shouldn't have revealed that information. Like he did. Like I get that's the direction he was given, but like at that point, that whole ordeal's over. You just move on.
Mm, yeah.
Do you reckon do you reckon if we went camping and we got lost, we'd have this same kind of bickering back and forth, arguments, pissiness?
Mm, no, I don't see it, to be honest.
No.
But maybe, who knows?
Mm.
Maybe in the presence of Blair Witch,
Mm.
anything can happen.
Cause that's like the one thing I always think of when I think about this movie. I'm like, there's no way that I would get that pissed off with my friends. But then I think about it and I'm like,
No food, no.
no food. Which you fucking with your mind? I'm like, maybe.
Mm. Talking about the witch fucking with your mind. I forgot like the voices. That it does. It does like at a certain point of the film, the witch keeps returning every night to their campsites, and at a certain point, there's like child's voices or something coming out of the witch, and
Mm.
then obviously later, Josh is the first one to go missing, and the witch starts imitating Josh. That was like a part of the film I'd totally forgotten about, and the the little package of like Josh's, I don't know, his fingers or something. I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
what it was.
yeah. That was nuts.
Yeah, I was feeling
I'm not
I,
gonna lie.
I
Yeah, that
totally
was.
forgotten about it because I thought this film, and for the most part, it is just really bare on the details. Um, But yeah, that was super. That was super eerie.
Mm.
There's just like I think there's a few details, like a few sounds that can kind of be missed. Obviously there's the snapping of the loud snapping of the trees that they hear all around them, but here and there's like something in the subtitles like which makes a sound that I couldn't hear, and you can like go back and like see a little piece of it. So I think even though this film's like it's pretty bare bones, but there are like little cool things here and there that you can see and be like, oh shit, that's actually pretty scary, you know.
Mm. With with like the lack of detail, we're actually meant to see the witch in the movie. Did you know that we're meant to see the witch? But
Really, in this
yeah,
product.
yeah. But the guy with the camera, he fucked up because it was meant to be in that scene where they run out of the tent after like there was like the bang on it or whatever. I think that was like when they ran out of the tent, right?
Yeah.
Um, when they got out of the tent, he was meant to like look left with the camera, and he was meant to see a chicken white like in the distance. But he forgot to look left, and they'd never reshot it. So that's
All right. So they actually had like a, witch set up there.
yeah,
Ah. Well, I just thought that was intentional. That never, never show the witch.
yeah.
So just leave it to the viewer's imagination, I guess.
I honestly think it works out more effective because from what it sounds like they had planned, it didn't really meet up with the descriptions we given earlier. But to be fair, the descriptions we given earlier, I think were also improvised by like just random local people.
Oh right, like the
Yeah,
hairy Blair Witch. Yeah, that's more what I was imagining.
mm,
Um, Although I think there was another account of someone saying it was like a white thing, like the fisherman maybe said that.
mm,
But yeah, I love the accounts from the locals. Um, how it kind of because they use two cameras. They use the color and the black and white camera, and whenever they show footage that was like meant to be part of their documentary, they go back to black and white, and then whenever they're just asking the people if they want to be part of the documentary, they have the normal
yeah.
camera, which is a kind of cool little technique or whatever, cool little thing.
If you're in that situation, would you be pissed off with how much Heather was recording? You know, at the latter stages as everything's fucking heading to shit. She just got a
Oh,
camera glued to her face. Like, pack up the tent. And she's like, yeah, yeah, whatever. Let me shoot this.
um, maybe, but that might be me to be honest. I don't know if that'd be me to be honest. No, yeah, that would be you would have every right to be pissed, yeah.
I think I'd be pissed off, but I think I'd understand her perspective. And I think the fact that they had
Mm,
like once again they have that argument every time something happens. I'm like, bro, just fucking get over it now. Like,
just let her
you
do her
managed to let's
thing.
record. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a better question: do you think you could have gotten out? Because I was like, just go the other way. Just you can do it, right? We could do this.
Um, what like that? It's like when on that day when they just walked south and they ended up in the same spot. Um, that was actually directed by the directors of Walkie Talkie as well, where like the actors were genuinely pissed off that they ended up at the same spot because they thought they were actually moving out of the woods, like get to ready to finish the product.
Mm.
So like that pissiness that they have, um, when they find out they're in the same spot is genuine. Um, but like I don't know, I feel like I would have. I don't know. I would have found my way out. I'm not an adventure outdoorsman, but like surely by that method, if you just walk south, if you just look at the sun and you walk south,
Yeah, I don't
at
know how
one
you can go
point,
around in a circle going in
at
one
one
direction.
point, yeah, you need to be out. You'll get out of there.
So like we come across little trinkets and little signs of the Blair Witch. We've got the stick man. We got the rocks, which she puts around their tent. Um, this is like the other than the voices, this is the kind of the one indication of the Blair Witch. What do you think of those as like little symbolic thingies?
Um, they're creepy at the start, but at the end of the day, I'm not sure if they're effective enough to like sustain the horror across the entire film. Um,
Hmm.
and like in conjunction with like the voice and shit, like it might be enough. But I feel like they needed to develop something with them, or there needed to just be another element that they could have played with it with, played along with it. I don't know, to kind of actually make it more effective. Because like it's interesting at the start, but then when it is only a pile of rocks and bundles of twigs, there's only so much that's actually like there.
Yeah.
And like I get that need to appreciate the lack of detail side, and this film was made with like 10K. It's like
10K. Wow.
yeah, um, but like I just feel like there needed to be an extra element that played with it, kind of tied it into the house at the end more maybe. Um, I don't know. They
Mm.
need to be. I feel like they need to be significance rather than them just being like piles of rocks.
Yeah. Is that what like the remake does? Um, does it add more to those things, or does it just do it better, kind of, in your opinion?
There is something that they do with it, but probably not in the way that I'm talking, and not in the way that you'd be thinking.
Okay. But there is a more. I guess there is something different.
Yeah, they do something different with them.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I was thinking that, like, you know, the rocks are cool and all, but at the end of the day, rocks aren't. They aren't, super intimidating or anything. Um, and the sticks just kind of look like sticks, except that big fairy thing. I think that was pretty scary though, like
Mm,
the big version of it, the big version of the human or whatever, human figure.
yeah, I just wish that it held. Yeah, like I just wish there was like a relevance, because like we're told by the fisherman that like it started because this one dude would take kids to his basement and then make one face the corner and then kill him, and then we see that at the end when we see Mike face in the corner and Heather gets killed.
Yeah.
So then like it just kind of feels like the sticks are just a bunch of hoo ha, and just
Mm. Maybe, yeah. Well, I think that's partly what makes that like facing the corner thing at the end scary, is because it's been referenced before, um, with this horrifying kind of backlaw thing. Um, and yeah, I don't know what the cult items, the sticks and the rocks. I don't know if that was ever referenced or
or was it that the guy that killed the kids, was he meant to have been possessed by the Blair Witch? Did I miss that? I don't know.
I don't know. Well, I don't think like the Blair Witch is the guy, so I don't know.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I guess in that sense, the film also leaves it like very open what the Blair Witch is, um, what her backstory is, and stuff like that. But I don't know. Like I still like that about the film though. Like
Hmm.
there's still, you can still think about the film and come up with different explanations, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. It's just that dichotomy of like detail. Like, is there enough detail for it actually to make sense and be scary, or is it open enough to think about? It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, when they released this movie, well, like first off, the actors thought that like this kind of Blair Witch mythology was all real. Like they didn't realize it was concocted for the film at first. But then like when this film was released, like it really impacted the hunting season, because like the year after, like all these kids just went to the forest trying to find the Blair Witch and shit like that,
Oh
and they
wow.
scared all the game away. Um, but like I really like how the Yankees, like across every state, sometimes even towns, they all have this kind of like unique kind of like urban mythology. Um,
Mm.
sometimes it's pretty similar in like regards like what it covers, but like they've got like Wendigos, and they've got like all these kind of cool myths and shit. And then here, we've got drop bears.
We've got the freaking the wallaby thing, you know, in Australian Gothic myth. Yeah, we don't have much.
Yeah, because like when I'm when I go to the Grampians, and I'm walking around, I'm like, there's no fear of some random mythical creature emerging, and
some cult creature, yeah.
yeah, that's an emu. He's gonna kill me anyway.
Yeah,
Like
we had a war with those.
yeah,
Yeah, no, totally. Why don't we like America? Why don't we fear our woods for cult things? We really should. Maybe it's because like maybe American myths are just more woods are just more cursed. You know.
yeah. Well, actually, like it genuinely might be because like America has this massive undiscovered cave network, and if you look at like the network openings and like the rated disappearances around them, like it's like really high. So like maybe there is like a link between like people like just disappearing and then like people like generating a myth around it. So that is
Mm.
possible, man.
Maybe there's a whole American history we haven't discovered yet of
Mm.
these cave people. The characters, I guess we talked about the characters. You found them annoying, which they definitely can be annoying at times. Heather is like kind of the leader of this documentary group. And then you have Josh, who's like the second cameraman, and then Mike's kind of the backup. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. What do you think of the characters by themselves? Um, I think Josh was kind of the it was initially kind of the comedy release, I guess, but these characters don't really fit stereotypes that much, except Heather's just kind of she's like the boss, I guess.
Yeah. Um, the initial plan was that like Josh would be like somewhat in love with Heather, but she didn't realize it.
Oh,
And
really?
like he was meant to like Josh was meant to be like the peacemaker, but then obviously halfway through like he gets fucked with and he fucks off. Um, I don't know. On their own, like Josh wasn't really too interesting to be honest.
No, I don't, yeah, I don't think.
Until he disappears, like it was mainly Mike and Heather. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Josh ends up kind of being like the third man because he does disappear,
yeah,
and Mike and Heather are the ones who kind of are more up each other's throat, at each other's throat. So yeah.
I think I think Heather's monologue at the end, where she's apologizing to their mums. I think it does a lot to humanize the characters, which the rest of the film doesn't do because of how annoying they are. So I think that's an important monologue, to be honest. Um,
Yeah.
the the camera angle shit, like looking up her nose.
Yeah. Whenever I see the poster, I'm like that's someone's face. You know, you're up there in someone's face. It's just a weird thing to choose
Yeah,
for the poster. But I was thinking about that monologue. Because like it's very I don't know, it's very movie like I love you mom, I love you all this. But like I'm guessing that was improvised too. Um
no. So she did write that monologue.
oh she wrote that monologue. Okay, that makes it more interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
The one thing that feels movie is written, that's weird.
I
But
think she was told like you're gonna need to do this, and I think
yeah.
she prepared some stuff for it.
Okay. But yeah, I still like it because like in that situation it's a dramatic thing that does feel quite normal. I don't think it feels overly, scripted or anything. Although, I guess in comparison to everything else, it feels scripted. Yeah, these actors are pretty much. This is pretty much all their first big gig. Um, as we were talking about earlier, that was a part of the marketing. The idea that they were just kids who got lost mainly.
Yeah. Um, for I think for Heather and one of the other blokes, like it ended up being like the only kind of project they were in, really. Like still some other minor shit. I think only one of them really went on to do a proper career.
Yeah, well,
Um,
I'm looking at the actors right now. It looks like Heather did the most things. Oh, actually, this guy was in Unsane. Oh, this was the creepy guy in Unsane. Nice.
yeah,
But yeah, the credits are few and far between. Blair Witch seems like the main gig for all three of them.
I think the director, well, one of the directors anyway. I think Eduardo went on to do some. I know he did do a segment in VHS, but I think he's done some other stuff as well. To be honest. Um, that's
Okay, but that makes sense. Makes sense. Doing something in VHS.
he did an episode of Yellow Jackets. You like that one?
Oh.
So the film was made on 10K budget, right? And like for a long time, it held like I think until Paranormal Activity came around, or maybe even still, it held the record for like the biggest return. Where like I think like the per dollar spent to hold on, sorry, the film cost 60,000 to make. I don't know what I want about. But like so like for every dollar spent, they made $10,000. Um, which I mean like that's like a fucking producer's dream, obviously. Um,
Mm.
it's like it made 248 million at the box office, and like can you imagine a film like this making that kind of money today?
248 million. Damn, that's crazy. That's gonna be like one of the most successful percentages of all time.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
but like for a horror movie, for a found footage horror movie, like that's a fucking that's an insane show up, to be honest.
Hmm. Yeah. I guess it shows like how new the genre must have been. I don't know.
And
Like
how successful like advertising it really was.
yeah. Yeah, also like I don't think campaigns that these days would be that successful. Um like obviously in terms of like trying to convince the public that something like this is real, but
Yeah,
just like I don't know, by itself it's just an amazingly
like
successful campaign.
the like before it came out, the actors were actually listed on IMDb as missing, presumed dead. Like like
Oh wow, yeah.
they went in with that shit.
Yeah. Oh, and I saw there was like a documentary, Curse of the Blair Witch. Was that also a part of the campaign campaign idea?
No clue. That could be the
Okay,
second one
well
for all I know.
it comes up as oh yeah, this was um a mockumentary made about the three kids. So I'm not, and this was released in the same year. And it's a bit like about their lives. And it was on the Sci-Fi Channel. So I think this was might have been for the film.
Ah.
I'm not sure, but yeah, they went all in with this. Is the point? Which good for them. It paid off.
See, like just like in the trivia, like just reading like some of like the like for the ending, um, like they actually shot a few extra endings because like while like audiences like test audiences were positive with like this kind of ambiguous kind of thing where like you see Mark in the corner and just had to get hit off screen, like they thought it was a bit confusing, so they had a bit more money to play with, and like they did experiment with like having those like stick figures in like the final scene, and they did experiment with like having Mike like fucking crucified and shit like that. But like, they ended up just going with like the first ending they had, um,
Hmm.
which was interesting.
Was like the Blair Witch only supposed to appear in that scene where they're running out of the tent? Was she not supposed to appear at the end?
From what it, yeah, it seems like it.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. I would have thought they'd have her appear at the end, to be honest, if anywhere. But yeah, I think that scene where they are running out of the tent is also where they start hearing the kids' voices, which would make me run out of the tent.
Yeah,
But
but that was is that when like the tent was being banged on as well, right?
I think maybe, yeah, because the voices were close.
Because whenever that happened, like that wasn't like they weren't told about that happening. That was just the director and like the co-director rocking up
Fucking
in
with
the middle
them.
of the night and just fucking
Hmm.
smacking at the tent. So like that was also genuine terror.
Gee, damn, they traumatize these kids.
Yeah, and like reading about like the other conditions that were like I don't know like if like this kind of should be approved today, but like they gave the actors less and less food each day of the shoot to like actually like, just like make them
What?
be like naturally angrier.
Oh wow.
It was only 8 days, so like I'm sure like they were still being fed fine by the eighth day, but yeah, like there was some like actual psychological games going on behind the scenes.
Mm. Yeah, these guys are actually angry at each other. They're actually venting their frustrations.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
and I think that's why people find it so realistic, and why people probably, if people do know that history, like why they continue to like say it, it is realistic, because I guess a lot of it is real, but like I don't, it's real, but how realistic is it?
Hmm.
Like,
I guess
yeah,
so.
yeah.
But isn't it realistic for people to like? It's not like I know you don't do it. Like I think we've talked about it before, but like for people to argue with each other in circles, you know. Like you said, when you have an argument, you're like you get it hashed out, and then you're like you don't want to like
Oh yeah, I just
uh,
move on straight away, because like I'm just like, you
mm.
had your bit, you just keep going. I don't know.
But these
Last week
people
was
aren't
spooky. Might show differently, but
these people aren't built like you, Jane.
no, they're not. They're
They're
like
just
in
normal guys.
teen. Do you reckon do you reckon the kids in this film are younger than us? Because they're uni students, right?
Are they uni students?
Well, they're film students, aren't they? Like
Oh right,
it's a student documentary, I think. Like that she's trying to shoot.
yeah. I honestly had high school vibes, but yeah, they could be film
Oh, high
students.
school even, you reckon? Wow.
I don't know, but I guess we would be older. Yeah, I'd guess that. Yeah.
But like looking at these characters and looking at us, you would never think that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
probably not.
You haven't seen the second one, right? Like the
the
official second one, like the.
the return or the remake one? Is there a return one?
Well, I think there was like a number two that was released like a year later, like as a cash grab. But like I'm in the 2016 one.
Like the remake?
Yeah. Well, it's not a remake because it's a sequel.
Oh really? Okay. Oh, I
Yeah.
haven't seen it. No,
No.
I thought it
Okay.
was a remake. That's kind of why I
No.
was avoiding it.
No. So they continue on. One of the main characters, I think her cousin or her brother is one of the characters from this film.
Okay.
Um, so like that's kind of her incentive to go back into the woods and try and find out what happened to her family. Um, what would you what like? I mean, I think it's kind of obvious from like what I've written on Letterboxd in the past. But like, what do you think that film would be about? As someone hasn't seen it, like if you just,
Um,
or what would you want it to be? Like, kind of maybe even.
what I want it to be.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Something that gives us more lore into what the Blair Witch is, and then I guess maybe seeing the Blair Witch, but like sparingly to kind of
Mm.
remain consistent with this one. Hmm. Is that kind of what it is?
I honestly don't remember. I was gonna rewatch it last night after this, but I was like, after doing this one, I was like, I don't know if I can do any more Blair Witch.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I don't. Okay, that's interesting that it's a sequel because I kind of avoided that because I thought it was like a remake. Um, but that's cool. That's cool. They went the American Psycho 2 route of doing a, you know,
Oh yeah, the family
family
member.
member.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I said earlier, I think there is not many details in this film, quantity wise. So it's a difficult one to talk about. But I think we've done justice pretty well, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, what is your final verdict of the Blair Witch Project, 1999?
um, I don't know, because like I think I might put a 5 back on it,
Oh, Return of the Five.
which is 2 steps up from the 3, which is honestly that's a massive step up. Um, and I still think there's massive issues with this film, and I think it's I think there's a lot of shit to like there's a lot of shit to hate, and I think everything thrown at it is valid from both sides. But yeah, I think I might stick with a -5.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We've won it back a little bit. That's all right.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, okay. I'll give it like I don't know. I definitely felt a bit of the wear of their argument, and most of the film is like listening to them and looking at rocks and shit. So I will demote it a little bit. It was a 7. I'll give it a 6. So actually, we're not too far apart here. We're almost touching
Nah,
hands.
yeah.
But yeah, I still think it's a scary film. At the end of the day, I think the found footage element, although it's not the best found footage film I've seen, it's still like one of the most realistic. In terms of the 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 quality of the camera and the dynamic that they have. So yeah, I still appreciate it for those elements, and I'll give it a 6 out of
Before
10.
we move on, Andy wrote in a review,
Oh
and I'll get it
yes,
in the right order this time, unlike Zach last week. All right, Andy says, hopefully Zach doesn't have to suffer through this film on an airplane. This is the film that has finally confirmed for me how truly annoying film students really are. It's great that he can finally see that perspective. I'll expand on this whenever we catch up in real time. That's us. The amount of promotional material they built up with the actors disappearing in real life, but they're really not, does give you the chills as an anticipated audience. Yet ultimately, it is rendered useless if these characters are not enjoyable enough and far too obnoxious to watch. This could easily have been passed off as horrible reality TV because their cringy banter and interactions aren't that believable for a camcorder documented film, such as this. For a film that is supposedly improvised, many lines sounded like rehearsed dialogue, especially when Heather recorded herself apologizing around the last 10 minutes. So that one was recorded. Not that was not rehearsed, but like it was prepared. The scene where the group realized that the guy kicked the map into the creek is a noteworthy moment of convincing acting, but generally these actors aren't good at their jobs, and I'm sure Roy Keane would agree with me. I can't stand how awful and overhyped shaky cam found footage genre is, just needlessly dull and boring. This was equally insufferable like mumblecore. What is mumblecore? Is that a film genre or a music
it's like
genre?
the place where Greta Gerwig came from. That subgenre. Um, it's just like low production indie films where they're like mumble to each other, speak to each other.
Oh,
I
okay.
guess I'm surprised Andy
Um,
doesn't like those. But
yeah, 5 out of 10. Andy slaps on it as well. Um, mumblecore. Okay, interesting. I thought he'd be into that.
I know, dissing his own kind.
News
News
chat.
chat.
I mean,
News chat.
we got one quick, very brief item in that there was an Insidious trailer. For the Red Door. This is I believe this is the final conclusion to the series. That's what the trailer posted as anyway. Um, it's a return to like the original kind of like cast, because if you've seen Insidious 1 and 2 are about this kind of one family, and then 3 and 4 shift away to be more about Lynn Shay's character. But this goes back to um, Patrick Wilson, Rose Byrne, and the kids there. Um, it looks pretty decent. Like I'm a fan of Insidious. I'm a fan of horror anyway. But like I think even with those aside, I think it's got more. It looks like it has more elements of the original one, and it that people do tend to like more. So hopefully that's a. I don't know. It looked pretty scary to be honest. Hopefully it ends up alright.
Okay, cool. You got Patrick Wilson, old mate there.
Mm.
Nice.
I had to think of his name for a second, but I wanted to prove that I do know him.
Ah, fair enough. All right, I guess we'll move on to what we've been watching. Um, I guess I'll kick us off. I finished Line of Duty. Um,
Oh wow, I haven't even finished Line of Duty.
well, I don't know. I think I stopped. Like my momentum stopped in the fourth season. Um, with Rose Huntley, with Thandie Newton. I think her name is the you know Westworld
Yeah.
actress. And so I picked up from there. And I think like season four to me at least is probably the weakest anyway. So that was probably why I slowed down. But yeah, the show overall is really excellent. It's like season 5 and 6 are excellent too. But just like the first 3 seasons they have where they construct this like wider story, it is really great, and they continue it afterward. But like season 2 and 3 is like the bulk of it, and that's where the show is like really awesome. I don't know, the procedural, nature. The characters are really great. Just I don't know, the dynamics between different departments, and the whole show is just really awesome. Um, the grilling at the interviews, that's like the best. Um, it's a great show. Yeah.
Mm. Love Stephen Graham.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
love Stephen Graham. Yeah.
Finally got to see Stephen Graham in season 5. That was good. He was like the most active of the, because like the subject of each season, the one they're usually doing the investigation on,
Mm.
they usually turn out to be all. They're usually like good police people who like go down a bad route or something, and they usually end up trying to help by like finding larger crime organization guys like Tony Gates does in the first season. Um, which was a little bit why like Thandie Noon's character was a bit to me because she didn't try to do that. Like her and Joe Davidson were the only two that kind of did their own thing. Um, but like Stephen Graham, he like went all the way, man. He was like, he was going for the top,
Yeah.
supposedly. Um, but yeah, Stephen Graham's great. I can always like imagine his like his face, the way he argues when he like points and shit. It's so him. But yeah, he didn't disappoint.
Mm. Does he have a Scouse accent in this, or does he have a Scouse accent in real life?
What a scouse.
Like a Liverpool accent?
Oh
On
yeah,
it,
he
yeah.
does. But he's also from like his character's from Ireland in
Oh
the
yeah,
show,
that's right. Yeah.
and like,
Oh yeah, and then yeah.
but he only has that accent for like one scene. That's really weird. Um, but yeah, no complaints. But yeah,
Mm.
what about you? What have you been watching, Jaden?
Not much actually. Considering it's holiday time, I really should be back in the movie grind. But I did watch Expendables.
Oh,
Um, and like I was quite disappointed, to be honest. Like in the first scene, I was like, "Fuck yeah, this is awesome!" Like Sliced alone, Dolph Lundgren, all these massive action heroes, all combined into one. Like this is awesome. But then the product you get is really actually quite boring. It's not even that it's, like it is generic. It is so generic. Um, and but like it feels like a Just Cause plot, to be honest. Um, but like I don't know. I was just expecting a more exciting product coming out of like all these kind of heroes of the genre. Um, and the fact that you only get teased with Arnie and Bruce Willis, I think they might come back in the later ones. I don't know. But the fact that they're there for like a brief second and then they disappear is quite disappointing. Um, I don't know. Like I think the biggest issue with it is that the action wasn't even interesting. It was all just done with the guns and a bit of knife work, but like for a film built on the monuments of the genre of the heroes of the genre, like they don't give him too much to work with, you know. I don't know. Statham was there, and I always like Statham, but the rest of the cast was kind of disappointing.
fair enough. Yeah, I haven't heard good things from that movie. Um, all that series, to be honest.
Yeah, I was gonna do all three in one night, but like after watching the first one, I was like, oh god, I don't even know if I
Got
can.
put off.
Um, yeah, but I think one of them has like some of like the newer like action people in it. Um, I don't know. The fact that there's three of them and there's a fourth one coming out, I mean, it means that there's something there. So I think I will work my way through it.
Fair enough. Just Fast and Furious. Fast and Furious it.
Yeah.
Now moving on to our question of the week, right?
Yeah.
Where we asked you, what is your favorite found footage film? I can read some stuff. We've got Andy over here saying that his favorite film that I remember with scenes involving camcorder found footage is Johnny Toe's Running on Karma. My second favorite is Mr. Bean's Holiday. Only that the footages were from Mr. Bean's camcorder, but somehow found its way into Carson Clay's film. If you know what I mean. I don't know what you mean, but that sounds interesting. However, I looked at three reliable lists on Letterboxd, and about found footage films, and it turns out these lists said I saw 0% of them. Oh my god. Meaning I have never watched a proper film from that genre in my life. The Blair Witch Project was my proper introduction, and if this was supposed to be a pioneer of the footage film trend, I've got to say that film is overrated. Oh my god. Yeah, I think you said that earlier, but fair enough.
Mm.
Okay, Andy's not a fan.
Really re-stamp it.
Yeah. Luke said, "Is my favorite found footage film is Blade Runner 2049 because the main character Ryan Gosling is literally me."
It's a banger of an answer.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Aiden, Cloverfield 2008 will always have a special place in my heart. Favorite scene, spoiler for those who haven't seen it, it shows one of the big scenes of the film. Cool, cool. That's a lot to answer. Zach, my favorite found footage film is one I just watched a couple of nights ago, so I acknowledge the huge recency bias. But the new film, Missing, starring Storm Reed, was a blast. It follows in the vein of 2008 Searching, where a crime mystery thriller scenario plays out entirely through phone or laptop screens. Both films have some great twists, and as someone who logs in and out of Gmail accounts all day, the attention to detail is great. I never spotted anything in the plot's logic that didn't stack up. The gimmick might sound silly, but it works really well, and I wouldn't be mad at all if this becomes a new subgenre. That's very cool. I've seen Searching. It was pretty cool for those things that you mentioned. Yeah.
I honestly thought that Searching and Missing were connected. Are they not?
I don't know. Yeah, they totally seem connected. Like they got like a very similar aesthetic on the poster and shit. So yeah, but yeah, Searching was actually a very good movie. It's kind of surprised.
Is that the one with that bloke that became Cowboy Bebop, right?
Yeah, John Cho. Yeah.
No, I thought that was his name, but I don't want to say it in case it was wrong.
Oh, I just looked it up. Yeah, I
Oh,
wouldn't have
okay.
any idea. Oh yeah, now it's our turn to answer. So like, Jayden, what is your favorite found footage film? Obviously not the
But
Blair
I've
Witch.
got quite a few because there is surprisingly quite a few strong ones. Um, uh, like it is quite a nice genre, especially as a horror fan, because like that's where like the majority of found footage is, I guess. But like I think the best one, it probably has to be Wreck, which is the 2007 Spanish one. Where it like follows this like news reporter, and she goes to do like a report on like this on this fire department, and like while she's there, they go out on a call, and like there's this that shit that happens in that building they go to. And it's mad. It is so mad. It is fantastic. Um, the I can't remember like the quality. I think the quality of the camera work is better. I think it's still quite shaky, but because like it's an official news reporter, like I think it is a bit more steady. Um, but like the story that unfolds is really quite great. Um, yeah, but I also do want to give a shout out to End of Watch as a non horror kind of found footage
Oh
film.
yeah.
That's a banger.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, but Wreck is probably my favorite one. Actually, no, that's such a lie. I'm such a fucking idiot. Oh my god, that's a lie. Get rid of that. As above, so below is my favorite
Mm.
one. I completely like. I just have to scroll down the page to say it. I completely forgot. That is so fucking good. There's people
Fair enough.
exploring the French catacombs. Absolute banger.
Um, Fair enough. I've seen you log that before. That's interesting. My one. Well, okay. In terms of horror, I think it's just Cloverfield. But I just saw that this movie I watched, I think in 2021, Spree, was on there.
Oh yeah.
Which was a very good like dark comedy film, I guess. Um, it follows that guy from Stranger Things, you know, the
Joe
teenage.
Keery.
Yep, that guy. And he's like, basically, he's a Twitch streamer who yeah, streams his murders. Um, he's like um, driving in this car, and he just goes on a little bit of a spree. Um,
Ah. Ah.
yeah, I'm connecting all the dots for
Uh,
Jaden there. Um, But yeah, it's a really solid film. Actually, it's a great performance from the man himself. And in terms of found footage, uh, it's like a very digital look, as most of these found footage things are these days, and it obviously has all those little icons on it. But no, it's really solid in terms of that as well. So yeah, you should check out Spree, guys.
Is he actually
Yeah.
like? Did I say Twitch streamer or is it just a
No, he's
streamer?
not a Twitch streamer. He's
Okay.
just a streamer. I
Yeah.
doubt they can incriminate
Yeah. Or
Twitch
load
like that.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Is that us done? Or...
I don't know. Is that the end of the week?
Oh, we got a poll,
Hmm.
and we got a question which we'll announce later. But we got a poll films
That we'll be doing in
right here.
2 weeks' time.
2 weeks time. Yep. You can go vote on the Instagram if you wish. You know, have your say on the direction of the show. So yeah, what's your poll film?
I'll be gracious as the defending champion. I'll go first this time.
Oh, thank you, Jane.
Yeah. I have a feeling I might have nominated before. I'm not 100% sure. But I'm nominating Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that does sound familiar, but I think we've just talked about that one in terms of
It's
like
just doing it.
like in the 150 episode we talked about it.
Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe.
Zach
Yeah.
mentioned that one for that. But okay, cool. That's a good choice. Mine is I think that just came to Stan. Not a hugely popular film, so yeah, not the great chance, not great chances, but Lost City of Z, directed by James Gray.
Yeah, I saw that came on, and I was thinking about that as well. I was
Oh
like,
wow,
I was like, I can do this, but I was like, no, I want to go for a safer option.
great minds. Cool. And our film next week, we're going for Spider Verse, Across the Spider Verse. Yeah, the new Spider Man film.
And that can be found on 123 movies, movie 7,
Yeah, movie7.io. Yeah.
solo movies, watch movies. All the theaters. If you prefer that one.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Who goes to the theaters these days?
Yeah. Um. Is that it? Do we end the
I
show
think
here?
that's it.
Oh, the
Oh,
question.
the question. Yeah, no, I knew we were
Question.
forgetting something.
Yeah. Next week's question that we're asking you is best movie that ends on a cliffhanger, and I think I think we're more asking. No, we won't limit it anyway. Just best film that ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure there are many films that end on a cliffhanger.
Mm.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. It's been an amazing episode with the two of us here, and we'll see you next week.